Welcome to the Nightly Rant. I'm Mike.
And I'm Toria.
This is the show where we talk about the awful things that have happened in our day, the awesome things that have happened in our day,
and all the things in between.
Thanks for listening, and we truly hope you enjoy.
You know, giggler over there.
I am a giggler.
Today
has been ridiculous.
The entire day felt like it was a Saturday.
Why did we work so much if today was Saturday? That's my question.
But it wasn't a Saturday. It just felt like a Saturday.
Exactly. Asinine. Stupid ass Saturdays. But
it's because Mitchell and Alyssa were off from school yet again, and it confuses my brain because I'm used to having them, here for the weekend is like Wednesday night, Thursday night, Friday night, then Saturday.
Right, and yesterday was kind of weird because we went and we did things. So they were with us, but they weren't really with us because we weren't here.
Yeah. It was more like a regular school day to me because we weren't hanging out here at home.
Right.
With a different routine. So, yeah,
right.
It's just weird. Felt like it should be Saturday today.
But it wasn't, and that's sad. Well, actually, it's not because it means we still have Saturday. And I freaking like weekends.
But man, the ghost from website Pope's Past.
The Pope of all douchebags? Master of no websites.
Resurrected itself today.
Oh, I can't even. Who does that? Who does that? Literally, who? Not even one rational person in the world would have done what he did today.
And he tries to say that I've made him close to being homeless.
I don't feel like anybody can make somebody else homeless.
Well, but here's the interesting fact.
Sounds like a personal problem.
Here's the interesting fact. He only had 2 business websites going. One was the sports-oriented one.
Right.
And one was the somewhat tech-oriented one.
Okay.
I refuse to mention them.
Obviously, because you're not an asshole.
Now, as I was looking through our discussions on Facebook earlier today, I saw a point in time where he came to me and said, I think I'm going to shut down the sports-oriented website. I don't make any money off of it. My tech-oriented website already makes 5 to 10 times the money, and it is what I live on.
Well, I guess 5 to 10 times of nothing is still nothing.
Well, you're not letting me finish the actual point, which
Sorry.
is we both know the tech-oriented website was up before the websites were turned off.
Yes.
On our server.
Yes.
So the one that made him the most money was already running before I booted him off my server.
Correct.
And then the one that's not running yet is the one he had already told me he was thinking about shutting down because it was taking too much of his time away from the other business that was making him way more money. So are you hearing what I'm saying to you? He basically did exactly what he told me he was going to do. Shut down the sports-oriented website and only focus on the tech-oriented website, but is blaming me for almost making him homeless because his sports-oriented website isn't up and running and earning him money. You know, the money he said he wasn't really making off of that site.
He doesn't remember telling you that. He's a lunatic.
And then, sincerely, people, it makes me wonder if he has some kind of mental disease. And
sorry.
It makes me wonder if he has some kind of mental disease.
Yeah.
And I suggested to him that perhaps he should get tested for Alzheimer's because I know it runs in his family.
Yeah, but he took that as a jab.
And then he took that as a jab at him, and it wasn't a jab. It was the honest to God truth. Like, dude, something's wrong with you. This is not, you were kind of a jerk sometimes, but you weren't this completely unreasonable jerk. You would even sometimes go off on this long pathway, far away from reasonableness. But then something would return you to reasonableness every single time. But for
Right.
some reason, this time, he has not returned to reasonableness.
At all. He's even gotten more unreasonable.
And I think, this can sound funny, but I think it's the narcissistic behavior of that person. Because remember when I told you I had that argument with them and we didn't talk to each other for like 2 weeks? And then I called on the phone to apologize?
Okay.
He never apologized to me back.
But it was 98% his fault.
But he never apologized.
Well, he's a weasel, isn't he?
And when I think back about it, any disagreement we've ever had, he's never apologized for. Like, you know how we were watching on the Married at First Sight and the nicer looking brunette and her match, who's kind of a geeky looking guy?
Yeah.
And he's a fireman, and she was complaining that he was going out to all hours of the night, and what it really came down to was she was wishing he would want to stay home with her, and she was taking it as he doesn't like her, and that's why he's going out. But that wasn't what it was about at all.
Right.
So he apologized for not realizing that he should be spending some time with her and that he could possibly be making her feel that way. And she apologized for thinking it and not saying something to him.
And being unreasonable.
So
Yes,
both sides
exactly.
apologized.
Right.
Because both sides were unreasonable.
Right.
I feel like when you're unreasonable, you should apologize, regardless of if the other person apologized. It's not about winning and going, oh, well, they apologized and I didn't.
Well, that seems to be how he takes it.
Exactly. That's why it's interesting when I was looking through the texts to find some of these facts.
Right.
And he was talking in there about, why must it be a pissing contest? Well, yeah, I have to ask that question. Why is it a pissing contest?
Because he makes it one.
Why is it about you're more of an expert in this field than I am in my field? Why do you want to say that? I mean, if you want to go there, I pretty much think I will destroy you in that area.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that. I'm so annoyed that it came back.
Yeah.
And very glad that Twitter sent me that notification that it was back.
Well, and here's the thing. Now we got it blocked.
Yeah.
Which we probably should have thought to do in the first place, but we figured it would act like an adult and just go away.
And I guess I probably should on Instagram as well, huh?
Yeah, I would. I'm going to on my personal.
I don't really care about my personal. He's never done anything. Never
Well,
even tried.
Your personal isn't going to be being watched like mine is.
I know. Just
So-
the other two that I, take care of. That I
But
worry
yeah,
about.
it's just bizarre and out there.
He's a lunatic. He's a lunatic.
And I mean, I'm not even going to go back into rehashing anything. We know what happened.
Yeah.
And the constant, like, his biggest insult is, I always wondered if you were drinking too much and were a little bit drunk when you'd go on your late night monthly tirades.
What late night monthly tirades?
He's talking about the times, like, for instance, the time in December when he told me he was going to be doing SEO work, and I asked him sincerely, because I was looking for a tool, hey, have you found a tool that gives good reports for progress? And that was like a legit question. I'm looking for something for a client.
Right.
And there you have it. Okay.
Lunacy.
Well, he gets all, I don't need a tool like that. I'll just show the clients what the progress is. I'll explain it to them and they can count it out on Google themselves. I'm like, dude, I've never met an SEO client that would sign up with you without reporting.
Dude, if I'm on page 394 of Google and you effing tell me that I have to go to page 394 and count that I'm number 16, and then 2 weeks later I'm on page 393, number 20, if you make me go all the way there and count it, I'm going to pay your invoice. You go suck it.
Well, exactly.
That's your job. That's what I'm paying you for.
And the thing is, I didn't really argue with him about it. I just said, I think you're going to need a tool because I'm looking for one myself. And it's because people want to know their positioning and they don't want to have to count it. I mean, if you tell them they're number 21 and they're on the top of the third page, they can easily go check that.
Right.
And they will from the report.
Right.
I know because my one client reported back to me who she saw ahead of her. So I knew for sure where she had gone.
That she'd checked it out.
Right. But he takes that as me having a tirade.
Because he's an idiot. You offended him and therefore you were having a tirade, even though he's too stupid to know what you were really asking, and therefore assumes that you're calling him an idiot.
Okay.
And really
now,
proving he's an idiot.
Something just dawned on me, though. It takes me back to conversations we've had about people we run into on, like, Orange County Register's Facebook posts, or, I don't know, different politicians' Facebook posts, where because you aren't just bowing down and kissing their feet and agreeing with everything they're saying, suddenly you don't know what you're talking about, or you're not paying attention, or you have too big of an ego.
That does sound very familiar. Maybe this person should move to Orange County.
But you know what I'm talking about? like, oh, the school board's not allowed to hear your immediate needs. They can't act on it. They can only hear it. Oh, how do you know that? You're a know-it-all. Post the government code that says that. I get blocked. That's the quality of people that we deal with.
Yeah, people who don't want to know the truth. They just want to live in their weird little fantasy world and just, like I said, live in their own little fantasy world.
Well, it kind of seems to me that there's this group of people that only... What am I trying to say here? They only believe the story that they craft.
Okay.
So, like, how many people do you run into? Like you and I, we read different news stories from different things, and I know this because there are days, many, many days, where you send me something by messenger or text, and I read it the day before.
Or you read it earlier.
Many days, but then there's many, many days where you send me something, it's the first time I see it, and a few hours to a couple of days later, I see it on someone else's wall. So the point being, we kind of keep a wide variety of topics in front of us by sending it to each other. And we read things that you wouldn't necessarily normally read as a, general citizen, right?
Right.
And we do that because I like to keep on top of what's going on in the county.
Right, especially lately.
And so when you say something, you know it's true because you have the total package of news, not just the little tiny packet of news.
Right.
And the proof of this is when you have elected officials seeing you out on the street who you know are ethical, not the unethical ones, and they say to you, thanks for being the only one who always tells the truth about this situation.
And you haven't just had that from one person.
Multiples.
On completely separate occasions about completely separate topics. And one of them was like, thank you for saying it every time, being the voice of reason.
And you know what? And even that time at the, where were we? We were at the council's candidate forum.
Oh, yeah.
And that cuckoo crazy guy called me an internet troll and all that stuff. The current mayor and the mayor prior to him, two mayors prior to him, defended me against that guy.
Yeah. Of course they did. Because he was a lunatic who didn't know anything about anything.
Yeah. So very true.
I'm so glad he's not around.
So that's what I've concluded is that for some reason with him, I was able to look past that lunacy for a long time. And I think it's because of me doing everything he asked for, he never got his mean side coming out.
But he definitely has a mean side.
But as soon as Well, what's funny is he thinks it's witty.
It's not.
It's like the most obvious kind of humor there is.
If what was happening on Twitter tonight was a battle of wits, he did not come armed. He didn't even come half-armed. He came not armed at all.
Well, and like, you know how you told me the other day that I'm the best at sarcasm that you've met?
Uh-huh.
It kind of proved its point tonight. Like, his best comment was to first do that really long thing about how he wondered about me drinking because of long tirades. And I gave you an example of the tirade that he thinks is a drunken rage, right? Okay. Me telling him, I don't know, dude. I know I need a reporting tool. It's why I'm asking you, because I thought you might have had one. And I know clients ask, so that's why I was asking you. And you said you were going to do this, so I thought maybe you'd know. But it's cool. You do it your way. It's your business to handle however you want. Just let him be, right? But yet that's a drunken tirade. But then after that, all he could keep saying is, well, I wouldn't expect anything less because, I mean, all the drunks I know act that way. But do you think he completely misses the subtlety of my sarcasm when I say, well, I've got to go. I gave up idiots for Lent? He doesn't get it. He doesn't know what I'm saying.
I just thought of something. All the drunks he knows go on late night asinine tirades. Well, maybe he's the only drunk he knows.
Yeah. Well, you've seen the nose in the pictures. Red and swollen.
He rambles like an alcoholic. He rambles like he's had one too many glasses of scotch and then decided to become a keyboard warrior.
Yeah. I wonder if Mitchell understood what I meant by I gave up idiots for Lent.
That would depend on
Alyssa did. She laughed.
It would depend on if Mitchell knows what Lent is.
Do you know what that means, Mitchell? What does it mean? Very
A+.
good, buddy.
You got your fill of idiots on Mardi Gras.
The joke was, goodbye, I gave up idiots for Lent. I mean, that's a good joke, isn't it? It's quite sarcastic, isn't it?
Well, hold on a
thought
second.
it was.
That's funny. You win.
Well, yours was funny, too.
What was mine?
Saying you're a customer insinuates that you paid for the services that were rendered.
Well, yeah, that was pretty sassy.
That was a good one. I liked that one a lot.
I had to say it.
I liked that one a lot. So anyway, I don't want to ramble on about this because we tend to do that sometimes. So here's all I'm going to say. If you don't know how to do something, that should not be a reason to stop you from starting your business or expanding your business, but instead find somebody who does know how to do the things you need to do, but don't expect that somebody
to do it for
do
free.
Everything for free. You know, it's kind of like, you know what, Ashley, if you're listening to this show, please grasp this in the manner in which it's said. It's kind of like me asking Ashley, had she done her AdWords training yet? And the answer is no, I haven't had time. I was sick. I mean, there's a lot of excuses. But like I was reading in Crushed It today, what he does is he talks about a concept. Then he gives examples of people who used his book, Crush It, to execute those concepts that he talked about.
Okay.
So he was talking about how if you're going to start your own business and you have a job, what you have to do is you have to block off time for your job, block off time for your personal, and anything that's left, you have to work your butt off on your business. And he said it this way, if you work a 9 to 5, well, then you've got a lot of hard work to do from 7 until 2.
Right.
And kind of making the point that when something's important, you got to put the time in. And that's like what has to happen here. You know, like in her case, and I hopefully got this through to her, that by the time he gets back from his vacation, she needs to have been certified, whether she thinks she needs it or not. He wants that from her.
Right.
And she needs to just give it to him and not have an excuse why she didn't. right?
Right. I agree.
So
Wholeheartedly.
I think that's what people have to start realizing is that, like, you don't know what you're doing. All right, that's fine. You know how to do X, Y, and Z, but you don't know how to do A, B, C in your business. Well, hire somebody that knows how to do A, B, C, but be prepared to pay them for it.
Exactly. I didn't hire a virtual assistant and want them to work for free.
Right. Exactly.
And it's even to the point where I hired somebody at a rate I was comfortable with, and I'm just willing to accept that sometimes they're going to be really crappy because it's not a super high rate.
Exactly. You expect a certain level of service, no more, no less. If
Right.
you get more, you're pleased. If you get less, you're displeased.
Exactly.
As long as the less only happens once every so often, hey, it's part of doing business with somebody at that pay grade.
Exactly.
And
No issues with
that's
that.
how it should be. But when your boss makes something clear they need it, you got to go out there and do it. And that means, to kind of tie that back to the whole, when you don't know what you're doing, you find somebody that does. Well, you asked, where do I find the tests? How do I take the test? You were told. Now go do it.
Right. I have to
Get it over with.
I have to point out something funny before
Okay.
we're done. This whole thing with the Pope of all websites happened right at the end of January.
Mm-hmm.
Lent begins the day after Mardi Gras, February 13th. You really did give up an idiot for Lent.
And with that, I have nothing else to say.
I don't either. Guess that means it's time for good night, everyone.
Hasta la bye-bye.
Hi everyone, this is Mike, and I truly hope you enjoyed this show. You're able to subscribe to this show on iTunes, Google Play, and Stitcher so as to never miss an episode. If by chance you did miss an episode here or there, you can catch up on all shows, past and present, by heading over to yogispodcastnetwork.com/TNR show. Thanks for listening.